The GameCube holds a lot of nostalgia for me. It was something that I used to play a lot growing up, and I still do play it even today. So I thought I would reminisce in some nostalgia and go through my GameCube collection with you all today, taking a look at some of the games that shaped my childhood and really got me falling in love with video games. So to my surprise, it actually turns out I'm an original From Software fan. Yes, those that made Elden Ring and the Dark Souls series. Now, the game that actually I played on GameCube is none other than Lost Kingdoms, and this game is more of a JRPG. It has a card-based system, so you collect cards and you battle against other monsters. The key thing I remember with this game is that you can find random things on the ground. They weren't lit up or sparkly, so you would just go around constantly clicking buttons just in hopes that you would stumble across a random item. One of the biggest frustrations of the game, but also made it quite unique. I guess they liked being frustrating even in their very early games. With Hogwarts Legacy coming out very soon, I thought it was only appropriate to go back and play the Harry Potter game I have on the GameCube, and this is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. It is a 3D Harry Potter game. You play as Harry and you basically go through the Chamber of Secrets story as a video game. Nowadays it doesn't look the best, but it does have a light platforming elements and puzzle solving, and it still is fun today. It holds up reasonably well considering the age of the game. And it gives me a lot of hope for what they can do with a Hogwarts or a Harry Potter world inspired game. So I'm excited to see a new Hogwarts Legacy come out. If it's out already by the time this video releases, or if it's not out yet, I definitely will be playing that game. Speaking of games from movie franchises, we have Star Wars Rogue Leader, Rogue Squadron 2. So this game is a single player game, basically a spaceship game, a shooter game where you play either the TIE Fighter or an X-Wing, and depending on the levels, and you shoot the enemies, get to the goal. There's a few classic scenes, like you're in the Death Star, you do that scene in this game. So for fans of the more classic Star Wars movies, this game's really nice. It goes through a few of the different scenarios, so you're flying through a few different famous areas from the movies, and it's a lot of fun if you like the style of game that this is. Obviously there are more modern Star Wars games now in this genre, so you can just play those if you prefer, but if you do like retro gaming and you have a GameCube, you want to check out this type of game, I can recommend this Star Wars game. Next in the collection we have a WrestleMania. I don't recall playing this one too much, but it is a wrestle game. You can see The Rock on the front here, so some famous people inside the game that you can play as, and yeah, a standard wrestling game. I don't have too much more to say about that, except it is multiplayer, so you can play with friends. Always a good thing. I really liked how many multiplayer games there are and there were on the GameCube. I feel like the variety of multiplayer games is a lot as well for the system, so that's always impressive. Have Super Smash Bros. Melee. Some people would say this is the best Smash Bros. Game, others would disagree. I really enjoyed this game. I played it a fair amount with my brother when I was younger. I'm not so much into the Smash Bros. Series today as I used to be. So that's just personal taste. I gravitate more towards cozier games these days. However, it still holds a lot of nostalgia, and I really appreciate the crossover between different franchises that all come together, even non-Nintendo franchises such as Minecraft in the recent Smash Brothers. I think that that's a really wonderful thing, and it's brought together different parts of the gaming community to all be celebrated in a single game. So yeah, have Smash Brothers, Super Smash Bros. Melee on the GameCube. Moving on to Mario Party 4. It's 1 to 4 players and it's Mario Party. You have the different boards and you have the mini games. I think the board's in this one. Does it tell me in the little instruction manual? Let's find out. Oh yes, it does. So we have in this, if you can see there, we have Cooper's Seaside Soiree. We also then have Shy Guy Jungle Jam and Boo's Haunted Bash. Also have Toad's Midway Madness and Goompa's Greedy Gala. So those were the boards that were in this game. It'd be really nice to see some more downloads for the latest Mario Party game. I'd love to see some DLC because some of these old boards are really fun and they're quite innovative. I love how all of the boards have their own personality. And yeah, just a really fun party game. You can't really look past Mario Party for a party game. It won't disappoint. Whilst not the biggest fan of the 2D Metroids, I still enjoy them. I definitely prefer the 3D Metroids. So I, of course, have Metroid Prime on the Gamecube. Now, I played this a fair bit. When I was younger, I did find it a bit challenging. Nowadays, I find it a lot easier to play through. But I always liked the fact that the main character, Samus, was a girl, as back in the Gamecube era, there wasn't as many female leads in video games as there are today. So it was really empowering to have a strong female lead. I also have two James Bond games. We have GoldenEye Rogue Agent and 007 Nightfire. These are first-person shooter games. I think co-op, at least one of them is. I remember playing one of them co-op quite a bit. Oh no, they're both co-op. So yeah, definitely played these with my brother, and also our dad used to play with these ones with us as well. It is definitely one of the first-person shooters along with Metroid that I did play and got me more into that genre. Even though it isn't my favourite genre, I still do enjoy playing games within that genre. I have yet to play the 007 GoldenEye. It's come out on the Nintendo Switch Online or Xbox Games Pass, so maybe I'll jump back into that for a little bit of nostalgia, but I do have two GameCube games that I can always just jump into as well. Next up we have two Lord of the Rings games. We have The Two Towers and Return of the King. Don't know why we don't have the first Lord of the Rings game, but have the second and the third one in the collection. These games, they are single player, except the Return of the King is actually two player, so that's exciting. And it is just a action game, I guess, an action adventure game. You go through the movie and you go through all the famous scenes from the movie and you fight off like hordes of enemies, and that's essentially the games if I was to summarize them. Good quality games, obviously they're licensed titles, so there's a lot of nostalgia there, especially if you like Lord of the Rings. They are worth a playthrough just for that. So yeah, not bad titles, not bad like action RPG, and the Return of the King is multiplayer, so that just makes it more fun, and I definitely did play it multiplayer with my brother. Moving on to another game I probably spent way too much time playing, and that is Waverace. I really liked Waverace. It's a jet ski racing game, so think car racing game but jet skis. And it was just a lot of fun. You could also do tricks on the jet ski, so you take off from like a ramp on the water and you'd be able to do a trick and things like that. It's 1 to 4 players, so cooperatively, couch co-op. And I always had a really good time playing this game and definitely played it a lot even on my own. Next up we have SX Superstar. So this is a motorbike game, and basically you want to become a world champion dirt bike racer, essentially, and you compete in different races, you earn money and you kind of level up your wardrobe and your bike and things like that. And yeah, it's a fairly good single player game if you're into motorbikes. It's also multiplayer if you just want to race against a friend, so you can do that as well. Okay, next to my collection I have not one but 3 Need for Speed games. So we have Need for Speed Most Wanted, Need for Speed Underground 2 and Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. It's Need for Speed, great games. I think the one I played the most out of this probably was Most Wanted. I can't quite remember. They all blend into very similar games. You know what you're getting. Similar to the current generation Need for Speed games, I would say. Now for a classic GameCube game, it is Crazy Taxi. It's such a unique game and I really don't think they emulated anything even similar to Crazy Taxi in the modern day. Basically you play as a taxi driver and you go and you pick up passengers and then you take them to the destination. There's different types of passengers though, so you've got like green, amber and red. Green, you've got more time to get to the destination, whereas red, you've got the least time and then the most hard, I guess, to get them to the destination on time. And as its name suggests, it is crazy because you can drive very crazily as a taxi driver in this game. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Dragon Ball Z Budokai. So this is a fighting game. You pick your character, you go up against the AI or you go up against a friend in local co-op. It's a fun fighting game. It's a classic fighting game. There's obviously been a huge continuation in the Dragon Ball Z franchise. So there are a lot of modern games and there are older games in this one. Good pickup. I played it a fair amount, mostly co-op. There is a single player mode. Just for your information, if you're wondering what section of the anime the game follows through, it's the Saiyan Saga to the Cell games. Another game that I spent way too much time in and probably my favourite in the franchise is Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. May not be everyone's favourite, but I definitely was missing the Chow Garden in the latest Sonic game. I think I spent more time raising them to be good or evil than I did actually playing the game. It is a very good Sonic game though, I enjoy it a lot. And definitely good for children, younger people. They'll have a lot of fun, especially if they like Sonic. Now Pokemon spin-offs can be hit or miss, but they definitely have a hit with Pokemon Colosseum. I really like Pokemon Colosseum. I think it is a fabulous spin-off. You have Pokemon and the Pokemon have like dark shadows, so you've got to clear the shadow and then the Pokemon will join your team. So it's got a really cool story. It's like a 3D art style when you're running around, and it really showcases the capability of the Pokemon franchise on Nintendo back in the day, especially on the GameCube. For a spin-off, it's so much fun. The story is great, it's interesting, and I definitely think it helped elevate the Pokemon franchise and allowed the Pokemon franchise to realize that spin-offs are worth it. You can really see how successful these different style of Pokemon games can be. So if you have a GameCube, I think this game's quite expensive these days though to get, but I would recommend trying to find it and trying to play it if you can, especially if you love Pokemon. Next up I have Pikmin. This is the original Pikmin and what is, in my opinion, the most difficult Pikmin game that they've ever released. I remember that I really struggled through this game when I was younger. Obviously, as I've gotten older and a little bit more skilled at video games, I definitely find it more manageable to get through the game, but it definitely has this element of time management because you only have so many days to get all of Olimar's equipment to get his spaceship working so you can leave the planet. So there was always this ever-present high-stakes feeling about the original Pikmin that I feel has been lost in the following Pikmin. I'm hoping the next Pikmin 4, will bring back some of that, or at least have it as more of an option as you play through the game, just to kind of recapture the magic and the reason why I fell in love with Pikmin in the first place. Part of that reason is also the really cute character models themselves of Pikmin. In this game, you only really had your basic colours, so your red Pikmin, then you had your yellow Pikmin and your blue Pikmin, and of course now they've expanded to your rock Pikmin, your pink Pikmin. There's so many different colours these days, which I also really love. But the original Pikmin, still in my opinion, the most difficult Pikmin and also the best Pikmin because of that challenge that it has. Next up we're going to my favourite Zelda game and what I personally think is the best Zelda game, and that is Windwaker. Actually the only Zelda game I've 100% finished in the past, and it is the Zelda game that got me into Zelda to begin with. I didn't really like Zelda prior to this, but the art style in Windwaker definitely spoke to me, and it's aged so well. It still looks great today. Definitely a game I've replayed, and even playing it today, it's still given me as much fun and as much joy as it did when I was younger playing through it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video on my Gamecube collection and a look back at some of the games that shaped my childhood. For those of you that are new here, please consider subscribing so you don't miss my videos, and thank you for those that are already subscribed. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!